What's up YouTube? Capital G here. Got some pretty cool duels for you guys to check out. A little bit of Kaiju plus Fairy Tail Luna action. I've always been a really big fan of Fairy Tail Luna, like a long time ago when Altergeist were first revealed. This is actually a card that I was experimenting with in Altergeist because I was like, it's a pretty good normal summon. You can use it with Spellbook of Knowledge. Obviously, that was super before Multi-Faker was revealed, etc., etc. But it's a really good card, especially going second, being able to potentially bounce itself and a monster on your opponent's side of the field. And when you combine this with the kaijus, basically you kaiju your opponent, then you bounce the kaiju to your hand, and then you can just kaiju them again. And as long as your opponent doesn't play kaijus, it's generally going to stick. And Fairy Tail Luna also searches another copy of itself on summon, so it's a +1, allows you to have like good discard fodder for things like Twin Twister potentially. So you can see first duel, it's against a hero variant. Not exactly sure why Fusion Tag is in the deck or what you'd even use that for, but he's actually doing pretty well. He's got the Honest Neos. I believe he's going to make Dark Claw. Tries to activate Shadow Mist. Unfortunately, Called by the Grave is going to shut that down. Even without that, I feel like this is a pretty decent position just because Dark Claw should ideally be protected by the Honest Neos, and there are a lot of decks that don't want to see Dark Claw turn 1 because banishing all their cards is, that's never fun to have happen to you. Unfortunately, he is going to go for not just the kaiju, but he's actually going to go for Thousand Eyes Restrict. He has his column line up perfectly so that he can actually use the Mech Knight. He can summon it. He's going to kaiju his opponent. Then he's going to bounce, like I said earlier, kaiju him again, drop his own kaiju. And this was just beautiful, like column manipulation. He summons Relinquish Anima in the same column that he kaiju'd his opponent. That means he can actually use Relinquish Anima, suck up the kaiju, and this was just absolutely genius. That's an OTK, a very simple OTK too. As long as you use your columns correctly, you can use things like Thousand Eyes Restrict, and you can use Relinquish Anima, not just to actually summon your Mech Knights, but you can also use them to, you can use Relinquish Anima to kind of suck up a monster that's in the same column. You're basically making sure that you summon the kaijus in the same column as the extra monster zone. Very similar to what Crusadia will do. So the second duel, this is against the Spiral deck, and Spiral had every opportunity to pop off here. I'm not sure that it would have mattered, but I mean, I believe that you just go into like Decode Talker. For some reason, if you don't want to go Decode Talker, go into Nightmare Unicorn, just do something. I mean, don't get me wrong, he has a good amount of defensive cards, 1, 2 impermanence plus a droll. Generally, that would stop, most decks. Probably it'd be better to set the droll, but I think that getting the plus off of Master Plan would have just been a lot smarter. He doesn't do that, and he is going to get punished. So he has the Kaiju Waterfront. Opponent says, I'm going to draw you so you can't get any searches, but honestly, doesn't matter. Once again, Thousand Eyes Restrict, suck up the kaiju. He is going to use the impermanence on the Luna, so Luna's not going to be able to bounce, but it's really not going to matter. Relinquish Anima. The Master Plan is already in the perfect column, and this is where he got the damage, because he didn't have the damage before until he used Radion's effect, gets another 2,800 off of the token, and he's able to just easily OTK his opponent. So you can kind of tell that this deck does want to go second. Our final duel, and I will show this this Kaiju Luna deck at the end. Our final duel is actually going to be Cyber Dragons versus Traptrix. Just a fun little duel. I think, Traptrix can be a really good deck if it goes first. I do feel like battle traps are necessary because, Traptrix Sarah is kind of like the WinCon of the deck, but she's only 800 attack, and Cyber Dragon's probably not one of your better matchups because Cyber Dragon can contact fuse with Sarah, and doesn't matter that she's unaffected by traps. You can't really stop contact fusing in. As long as he can keep dropping these Cyber Dragons on the board, had not committing his normal summon yet, he should be able to, well, you see he's able to contact fuse with her. Now, he does have to deal with this Regeki potentially, and we know that that's going to probably be able to easily out the Cyber Dragon on board. Not sure why Balance of Judgment is being used in Balance of Judgment and Traptrix. These tech options are just crazy at this point. We might see him contact fuse again. Goes for Cyber Dragon Infinity. Traptrix Trapple Nightmare is going to negate. He tries to negate, but Ghost Ogre says, nope, that's not going to happen. However, it's perfectly fine because he does summon Nashter. Nashter can get back the Infinity, potentially trying to suck up, but no, he has the counter. Has the network trap hole. Don't see that one all that much, and he ends up contacting with her anyways. I think he was trying to suck her up, but, contact fusing like the second best option. Finally, he's going to go for Dianera. Maybe go for the rank 4. Goes for just the plain Jane Utopia, getting that work done. He is going to search out a copy of Power Bond off the Cyber Pharaohs. Okay, Cyber Pharaohs. This time, he's going to get another Cyber Dragon. Maybe we see a third Contact Fusion. Rampage Dragon's going to probably pop the Balance of Judgment, which I guess could have been chained earlier when Power Bond was still on the field. Negate the first attack, negate the second effect, negate the second attack, and he has just enough life points not to die. You know what? I wonder what is like, because he has 2 level 5s. I wonder if he has an infinity left. I don't think he does have an infinity left. Maybe he doesn't have Cyber Dragon Nova. He does. He has Cyber Dragon Nova and he has Cyber Dragon Infinity. I guess, I don't know. He just didn't want to go into it. But I think that going into Infinity would have been a little better of an option. But, you know, it's not me playing. He is going to Pot of Duality for probably Ghost Ogre because he needs just something on board. Dark Hole probably would have been able to stop the Infinity. Although I guess Ogre just would have stopped it. And then he would have been attacked for game. Let's see if Cyber Dragons can pull this out. Yes, he ultimately does. His opponent knows that the Ghost Ogre is not going to actually be able to stop him, and that's the end of the duel. Not to mention he had Machine Duplication in his hand. And I think that, let's see what his top deck was. His top deck was going to be a Solemn Warning, which he couldn't even activate anyways because he was at 900 life points. But nice little good back and forth there for at least a little bit. Let's pause for one quick second and let's check out that Fairy Tail Kaiju deck. Oh, right, and this is what the deck looks like on paper. You can see that really when it comes to the monsters, only kind of 3 components. I guess maybe you can technically argue 4, that the like Thousand Eyes Restrict, and the Link One side and Instant Fusion might be a 4th. But really it's just like Fairy Tail Snow, the Kaijus, and then the Mech Knights. And these 3 archetypes just kind of work together. You know, when you Kaiju your opponent, you get rid of one of their monsters and you get to put the Kaiju on whatever column you want. Obviously, that works with the Mech Knights and column placement. And then, you know, Fairy Tail Luna is a card that can just bounce the Kaijus and then let you get rid of another card on your opponent's side of the field. So, like, this is really good for monster removal, and it works in conjunction with the Kaijus. When it comes to the spells, you guys saw basically everything except for some of the Monster Reborn cards. And, well, I guess you didn't see the World Legacies Memory. Pot of Indulgence seems kind of like a no-brainer in this deck because your extra deck, you can basically just run like 3 of every card, so it doesn't really matter what you banish. You're only going to be resolving 1 instant fusion probably in a duel anyways. Called by the Grave to push your plays through. Waterfront is just basic if you're playing like a super high Kaiju lineup. Same thing goes with something like Interrupted Slumber, and same thing also with World Legacies Memory. If you already have one of your Kaijus on board, you can set this card in a certain column to, you know, summon your Mech Knight, so shouldn't technically be dead. Maybe, well, it's already at 41. I was going to say maybe you could add Twin Twister for potential back row, because that's the only like gap that I see kind of in this deck, especially because if you know, you can discard your Interrupted Slumber. If you bounce with Fairy Tail Luna, but you don't need to use the Kaiju again, then that makes a good opportunity for discard fodder. Also, if Luna searches herself, that's another, you know, discard fodder there. So maybe Twin Twister would be the only other card that I could potentially see. Also, like if you have Terraforming and Waterfront, you know, they kind of don't serve, like you don't want both cards at once. So that would probably be my only suggestion for this deck. But everything else seems pretty good.